Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat podcast. Today is the final episode of our series looking at every Premier League club and rebuilding their side for the 23-24 season. It's episode 141 of the show today. Almost at 150 now. And today we are talking about Wolves. Wolverhampton Wanderers, when they came up to the Premier League, they were a side working on what seemed like such a small budget compared to the big guys, yet they were fighting. They were fighting with the big dogs. It felt like they were a team that they could get a result against anyone. I mean, specifically in their first season, they really took the fight to Man City, who were dominant over most other teams. But now they look a complete different team. They look like a side which will really struggle against the big guys and have been pretty poor this season. So why has that happened over the last few seasons?
I mean, to be honest, I think the only difference is they're not Portugal's B side really anymore. They've actually got a few more.
I don't know, they still are.
They still have a lot of strong Portuguese showing, but also they lost Nuno. That was a big miss.
There was a big change not only in the coaching but also in the playing staff. Obviously, players like Matt Doherty leaving as well, Matt Rui Patricio as well, Jota, of course. But yeah, it feels like it's just a complete different ethos and culture change at the club. It feels like there's been a bit of poor recruitment in recent years. So I don't know, the squad that used to look like, plucky underdogs now just looks like a massive talent. It seems a very talented squad on paper, but it's just not working. No. A lot of those players have come in on big fees and not done a lot.
I mean, I'll see. First couple of months they were really, really bad. They sacked Bruno Lager off the back of that.
They didn't claim a win in the league in August. It took till September.
Pretty early on they sacked him, weren't it? Because they were a threat of going down, but they didn't.
Just one win in their first 8.
So they did sack him, and they brought in Julian Lopetegui, who obviously is undoubtedly a very good manager.
They lost 3-0 to Chelsea in October.
Dear.
Breuer scored. He's not been fit since. But yeah, they really, really struggled for wins in the first half of the campaign. In fact, that only 2-3 wins.
Yeah. Then they picked up Lopetegui.
3 wins before Christmas.
That's ridiculous. That is stupid. That is rubbish.
They genuinely look like relegation candidates going into the World Cup. Then, obviously, as you say, Lopetegui came in at the World Cup break, and things slightly improved. I mean, they won their first game against Everton. Did he have a game before the World Cup?
I thought he was in before the World Cup.
He might have. No, Steve Davis.
Oof.
He managed Crewe in 2011 to 2017.
No, he's alright then.
He might have played actually.
Yeah, probably.
No, I don't know. I don't know what he does. He was an assistant though, I think, who stepped in. Anyway, he played his first game after the World Cup, Lopetegui. Slight upturn in form, but it's still not been great this second half of the season.
I think people think they did better. Oh, what was that sentence? I think people think that Wolves have done better than they have.
Yeah.
I
definitely think they've been helped out by the fact the relegation fight has been so big this year. Because if Everton weren't as poor as they were, if Leicester didn't have an uncharacteristically bad season, if West Ham didn't fall off a cliff, they would have had a much more difficult time with things. Because they ended up like 14th, I want to say, in the table in the end. But throughout the season, they were just nowhere, really.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, first half of the season, very much down there. But what they did is they looked so good because they picked up the results.
13th.
They picked up the results that they needed to and elevated their position. You look at the teams below 15th, they have had terrible seasons. Terrible seasons.
No, I wouldn't say Forest have. I wouldn't say Bournemouth have. I think West Ham's was helped out by the fact they won a Conference League.
Yeah, not terrible in terms of the club, but in terms of Premier League campaign, not very good.
Yeah.
Because you're only picking up like 40-odd points.
Well, 41 points for Wolves. It's still above the the magic 40-point number. We have seen in previous seasons that it's often a little bit lower.
Difference is, I think that 41, a few years ago, that 41 would have probably got you 17th.
That's still survival.
Yeah, I know.
41 would have been 14th the season before.
Yeah,
so it's not too... Yeah. The point tally has been quite low recently.
It was a massive step back from the Wolves team that we've seen last year, over the last year, that have been pushing the top 10, pushing into Europe.
Yeah, it is a far cry from where they were a couple of years ago. We're going to look at a couple of players then, the entire squad and where it's gone wrong. We're going to look at Lopetegui because a lot of bookies are favouring him to be sacked first, and I have to say, wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, we'll start as we always do with the contracts expiring then. Wolves only have a couple of deals expiring, but they are some big players. Now in 2023, they've already released Adama Traore, João Moutinho and Diego Costa. Costa's not as big a deal. He didn't really play. He came in for a season. He was poor.
Oh, I wish he'd
We got
scored.
to predict him scoring a goal every week on Premier League predictions though, so we got one good year out of it. But the other two are more key players, not in the sense they've been key recently, but they were key for Nuno Esperito Santo.
Yeah.
So it's just another showing of the changing of the guard. And of course, they've lost Ruben Neves. Now, that is a huge one. He's really been their best performer for the last 8 years, I would say. When was it? Did he join 2015? No, it must have been later than that, 2017.
But they got a big fee.
They did. £50 million is nothing. I mean, you can't really turn it down, but it is going to be very difficult to replace him because he is a very good player.
They've lost a lot of legs in midfield.
They have, but I don't think their midfield's a massive problem. I think that's probably one of their stronger areas. The fact they've only got one centre-half if Kilman goes is probably a bigger issue. We'll get onto that later. Looking at their contract expiring in 2024 then, Daniel Podence. What do we think of him?
I think you need to re-sign that one.
Really?
Well, you could sell him in summer.
Yeah. I probably would.
The problem is...
Podence has scored 16 goals in 105 appearances.
I understand why you'd sell him. But I think if you go off form, you could probably sell this whole Wolves side.
Yeah, but they paid a lot of money
I don't
for
look
him.
at a Wolves attacker that has had form that deserves to stay.
No, I don't disagree with you, but then equally a lot of their attack is probably going to go.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. That was the weak area of their squad. Wolves defensively weren't horrendous. Like, they had some solid players in defensive areas. They had some tough games. They lost 5-0 on the last day of the season. So clearly their defence wasn't perfect. But their defence wasn't the problem. They just couldn't score goals. They couldn't create goals and they couldn't score goals. And a lot of that comes down to the fact they don't actually have a very good striker.
No.
Because Jimenez has only just come back from his
on paper
head injury.
they do. On paper they do have a good attacking side.
If you told me 4 years ago you've got Raul Jimenez and Diego Costa as your striking options, that's ridiculous.
And you creators, you've got Matthias Cunha and Podence and the likes. You think it's much better.
But yeah, Podence for me, sell him on. I don't see the value in him, and he's not going to re-sign his contract, so you lose him for free in a year's time, if not. So, yeah, I'd sell him on. Next up, Raul Jimenez. I think Wolves fans will be torn here because he has been a wonderful servant for the club, but he doesn't look the same player, does he, anymore? Obviously, he had that horrendous head injury in the season before last. This season, only sort of returned towards the second half of the season, 15 appearances, only 8 starts, not a single goal, but an assist is all he can muster up.
Yeah, it's whether they think he can get back to where he was.
Yeah.
That kind of,
Thing is, he's never had a brilliant Premier League campaign. I know in 2021 he faced a lot of injuries as well, and still picked up 4 goals in 10 games, not too bad. In 21-22, he scored 6, which... Again, I know he had the head injury right at the end of the campaign, but so he's not done well since that 1920 campaign, since that Nuno Esperito Santo talk time. 17 goals in the Premier League season in 1920, 13 goals in 18-19, but he hasn't matched those numbers or got even close to those numbers since.
I think you've got to have question marks. You have to have questions.
There's a lot of questions. I think the fact his contract expires next summer, there is interest from Saudi Arabia, of course. I think it's a sell. I think you sell him this summer for me because... I know Wolves fans will have an emotional connection. I think they'll probably agree though. He's not done enough this season.
Saudi will pay an overpriced fee.
Probably, yeah. And you can probably get a very good striker for a very similar price.
25 million.
Yeah, I could see it. Bruno Jordão. He has spent the year out on loan, I believe. I just don't really see a way back for him. He's been at Santa Clara in the Portuguese First Division. He only made 11 appearances. He's only 24, but... I don't know, I don't see a route back to the first team for him.
No. Just
the 1 appearance for Wolves. Oh no, sorry, he did play 4 back in 2019-20. So 5 appearances, none since 2022, January 2022. So I don't know. I don't know really. Is he a good player? I haven't seen him. He's not played for Wolves before. Really, he's made 5 appearances. Wolves fans, please do enlighten us. If there's any Santa Clara fans, that would be even better. But
nice.
I would probably let him leave. Just based on the fact he's not. He doesn't look to be going anywhere. He's been on loan to Grasshoppers in Sweden and now Switzerland, and now obviously Santa Clara. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't really see him coming into the Premier League and becoming a creative genius.
Probably not.
You never know. And then finally, expiring next summer is Louis Molden, a young goalkeeper. He's just got, in fact, today, as we're recording this, just got out on loan to Rochdale. So maybe they see something in him. It'll be interesting to see whether he does have a good season. Only 21 years old. Had a good season last season at Solihull Moors. First half of the campaign, 17 appearances. That's not horrendous. No. I mean, he didn't keep a clean sheet, but it is Solihull. I don't know where they ended up. Well, they almost got relegated.
That's probably why they didn't keep.
Oh no, sorry, that's this season. It's on alphabetical order. Where did they end up? 15th. So
a team 15th didn't get a single clean sheet all year.
Well, for the first half of the campaign.
I
guess they weren't happy and decided to go and get a different goalkeeper. But
probably
there's probably some promise that I'm guessing. The fact that Rochdale took him on loan, that says a lot.
League 2 are Rochdale now?
They must be. Yeah, I can't imagine any League 1 clubs taking him.
They might be national, but
we'll double check. But yeah, I think though maybe I don't think there's a route to the first team there, but you never know. It's worth having. If he keeps a clean sheet every game and Rochdale go invincible, then
maybe
probably want to look at him.
Rochdale are invincible, I have to buy Louis Molden.
They are now in the National League.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not going anywhere, but
that is rough.
Yeah, his contract was next summer. See how he gets on loan. They've not renewed. They've not renewed that, so yeah, probably going to fade into obscurity, I would say.
Probably.
But maybe he's good. Anyway, should we do our squad keep or sell?
Yeah.
But yeah, Wolverhampton Wanderers then, it's a big squad to look for, I think. Although they have already sold a lot this summer. Just to look through some of their sales then, we've already mentioned Ruben Neves. We haven't mentioned Connor Cody to Leicester. Again, another signal of that changing of the guard. Someone who was so key under Nuno Esperito Santo, now moving on. I think it's a good transfer for Wolves. He's not really going to do anything for them. £8 million as well. Do you think Leicester's the right club for him?
Yeah, probably. I think that championship defender, he did alright at Everton last year. Yeah. But he'll probably look a cut above the rest next year. And then when Leicester get back to the Premier League, he will probably be a decent enough player to play. Yeah. For them. So he'll be good for another couple of years for Leicester, basically. Yeah. No, I mean, you'd expect Leicester to play nice football, possession football. We know Cody can do that. Well, we expect him to do that at least. Leicester may play Compet long. He might go completely against Guardiola. Probably in the three. Well, we're going to see what's Leicester manager? I can't think his name now. What they do?
Man City assistant is all I know him as.
Cody played in a 3 at Wolves under Nuno. They've played in a 3 or 2.
They've signed Callum Doyle now, who played in a 3 last season at Coventry. Yeah. Though he did also play in a 2 the season before at Sunderland. So he can cover different roles.
Second Cody.
Cody could play in a 2 or in a 3. So they've got options there. Definitely. I think it's a good move for Cody. Yeah. And then Nat Collins moving on as well to Brentford. We didn't actually get to mention this in the Brentford episode because he signed after we recorded that.
This is going to need replacing and fast. Yeah. Big fee though, again, lot of money recouped from some players this transfer window so far for Wolves.
He had a good season, Collins. Yeah. When he wasn't trying to ninja kick Jack Grealish in the head. Really good campaign.
Was actually the only game I've ever watched Wolves play.
I don't remember watching a Wolves campaign. No, you're spot on there.
Not at all.
I don't think they're rarely on TV, to be fair. Because
my season watching Wolves.
But there just wasn't a lot going on at the club. No. Like they didn't get relegated. They weren't really in the fight. Yeah. Once Lopetegui came in, stayed the ship, they weren't really in the dogfight, but they weren't pushing up. They weren't going anywhere. So they had a very middle of the road campaign, a bit similar to Palace, a side that wants to be fighting a little higher than where they are. It's just sort of stuck in that no man's land.
If they don't find a replacement for Nat Collins, they might as well just say au revoir.
Well, yeah, because they'll have 2 centre backs left, and that's with Kilman staying. Yeah. So, yeah. And then finally, Hayo Kawabe joined Standard Liège for $2 million.
Don't think you're going to miss him.
No, I couldn't really find out much about him. I don't think he's played for the club. But
I don't know who he is.
He's left, so they don't need to worry about him.
I'll never know who he is.
And then, before we get into players that are already at the club, we'll look at some signings as well. Matthias Cunha. Apparently that loan deal has become a permanent. Do you think that's a good move for Wolves?
I don't know what they saw him on his loan. He didn't do anything, did he?
It's apparently £50 million.
What on earth?
I don't get
So you're telling me all that money that I just said they recouped off Ruben Neves, they've gone and given it all to a man who didn't... Did he score a goal?
I don't think so. I don't know. Should we have a look?
Yeah. He
I
could
don't
have scored
remember. He
many.
must have scored at least one,
Yeah.
surely. I don't remember his campaign all that fondly.
I'm going to say he scored 3.
Let's have a look. He scored 2.
2.
17 appearances.
50 million on a striker that scores 2 goals every 17 games.
Yeah, he has been been made a permanent for £50 million.
He's been injured he hasn't been injured at any point, so...
He joined in January, of course.
I know.
On loan.
2 goals in 17 games, you spend 50 million on him.
But that's what I'm saying. He's not. I don't think he's a striker though. He's more an attacking midfielder, a creator. So it's going to be interesting to see what they play. They didn't play him there. Playing up front. So I don't know what Lopetegui's going to do. Feels like this squad's got a lot of potential, and Lopetegui may not be the man to.
It's weird because Lopetegui is a good manager.
Yeah, he is.
I just feel like you get it sometimes with some teams. Is the Wolves squad is still a very Nuno squad.
Yeah.
And they're still transitioning from that.
Yeah, but a manager that used to, he only managed Real Madrid for like 3 months, but
it's not going to count that. He was brilliant at Sevilla.
He was decent at Sevilla until he almost got them relegated.
Yeah, but he did win the Europa League.
And got them done. Oh, no, he didn't.
Did he not?
I don't think. Did
he? He must have. He's Sevilla manager.
Oh yeah.
You get the boot.
That's right. I was thinking the most recent season. I think he won it in 2019. No. 2020?
Yeah, they beat United.
That was earlier than 2019, surely.
No, because we covered it live.
Oh, yeah. No, that was Villarreal.
Oh, yeah.
In 2020, yeah. So I don't know if
stupidity.
Sevilla... I don't know if he did win one with Sevilla. Anyway, I can have a look at Sevilla, see if they've won Europa League. Yeah, they did win 2020.
Yeah.
So Villarreal 2021, but we didn't stream it. Anyway, he did win one with Sevilla.
After all that.
And in the most recent campaign, he got them dumped out the Champions League groups and then they binned him off. But yeah, so I don't know. Is he the man to lead them forwards? I'm sure all fans will have many opinions in the comments. Please do leave them. Should we get into the squad?
Yes.
Well, they also signed Boubacar Traoré, who looks good. He's a DM, I think.
He's all right.
He seems a good player, to be honest.
Yeah.
He came in on... Where was he last season? Yeah, he came in on loan for the campaign. 10 appearances. Looked fine. He is only 21, so there's definitely potential there. I think a good bit of business for only 11 million. So yeah, good signing. Let's get into the squad. We'll start in the goalkeeping department then. There is a few rumours here that Jose Sarr may be leaving. What are your thoughts on that? Should Wolves sell Jose Sarr?
Last season, he was phenomenal. This season...
Yeah. Still 11 clean sheets from 36 games.
That is good. But he had a few errors in there.
Yeah.
And... I don't know. To be fair,
I don't think you're going to
exactly
get
the same numbers he did last year.
I don't think you could get better, to be honest. They conceded 15 more goals, which says a lot about where the direction of the club this year, especially in the first half of the season. But yeah, 108 saves this season to 121 last year.
He might have 1 or 2 errors, but I think, as you say, as for the money you'll get for him, I don't think you can get much better.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is much. I know Brentford are interested. Obviously, they have David Raya potentially leaving the club for absolutely nothing.
Straight swap.
That would be a massive upgrade, but I can't see David Raya swapping Brentford for Wolves.
Well, he's got European clubs interested in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be goalkeepers out there if they do sell Sarr, but I don't think you should sell Jose Sarr. I think he's done really well.
Like Dean Henderson.
That wouldn't be terrible. Dean Henderson's a good goalkeeper, but Sarr's better. Moving on, Daniel Bentley. He has
absolutely sound backup.
Came in January, made 2 Premier League appearances, conceded 3 goals, made 11 saves. That's not horrendous.
11 saves in 2 games.
He played against Manchester United, which they lost 2-0.
11 saves.
He put in a 7.0 rating in that game, so it's clearly a decent game.
And
then he played against Everton as well. You know what? Star him. He's not the.
Do what we've seen De Zerbi do it.
Played Jason Steele.
The flat.
But came in from Bristol City in January.
And he was their starting keeper for years, wasn't he?
He could be. He's only 29. It's not like a complete.
Give Bentley.
I think if you sell Sarr, you probably look at it.
Yeah.
They've recently brought in Tom King as well on a free transfer, I believe, from Northampton Town. He's just a third choice goalkeeper. Yeah. He's not going to play football. He did alright for Northampton for a few years.
How old is he?
Yeah, he is 28.
Yeah. He's gone, I will happily play for a Premier League squad.
I'll happily check in that paycheck. But yeah, Maciej Sarkic is our next one. He is not stunning, but he did make 8 appearances on loan at Stoke in the second half of last season.
He's back up for Stoke.
2 clean sheets, 6 goals conceded, 16 saves. I don't know.
It's not wonderful.
I can't see.
I feel like a few years ago he
up
had
from
really high talent. I just don't really see it anymore.
Yeah, high potential. Obviously, he was at Aston Villa, went to Havant and Waterloo on loan, then Livingston on a loan, then Shrewsbury on a loan, Birmingham on a loan, Stoke on a loan.
All went down. He went to Livingston. Problem Scotland.
He's had a lot of loan moves. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much.
No,
I don't think he's going to be playing for Wolves anytime soon. They could probably sell him to a decent side.
Yeah.
Like he could probably do a job for, I don't know, maybe a league on side.
Or just...
Yeah, Croatian league.
I mean, Northampton now need a keeper.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah. And then we've already spoken about Louis Molden. So.
Yeah.
On to defenders, Craig Dawson.
You can't afford to let him go.
Who's the one centre half left.
Yeah.
With the Kilman linked away from the club and everyone else having left. He is the defence.
Craig Dawson might be your only defender next year.
Yes, currently their only
part
defender.
of the bus. Dawson's got you sorted.
So obviously that is a keep.
Yeah.
Johnny is linked to the move away. I would probably let him leave.
Yeah, 29. Didn't put up great numbers last year.
18 appearances, 1 goal and no assists.
Yeah. Okay.
And well, there is a right back linked with a return to the club, who we'll get on to in a moment. But yeah, Johnny for me is a sell. Sell this summer.
Yeah.
There is links. There are clubs rumoured interest from Saudi Arabia, I believe, and other clubs in Europe. But yeah, probably let him leave. Different story for Nelson Semedo, who had a very bad game against Arsenal in the final day of the season. But if we just forget that, he didn't have a tragic campaign considering the players he was playing with.
It wasn't tragic. It was not great though.
To be fair, to play 36 games and still put in a 6.72 average rating in a side that, let's be honest, were very, very bad defensively. Well, they weren't terrible defensively, more attacking, but they did struggle defensively as well.
Yeah.
I think he did all right. He picked up an assist as well.
And I think he'll be fine to start next year.
He's obviously a good player.
Yeah, he just needs quality around him.
You need some better players, as you say, around him. Still only 29. You've got a good few years left there. Definitely. 100% a keep. Max Kilman.
I mean, he would be a keep, but I don't think he'll have a choice.
For me, I don't think he'll ever match the current fee that's being bid. So apparently Napoli have submitted a £43 million bid. For me...
That's good money.
You're not getting more than that.
For a 26-year-old English centre-half.
Yeah. He ticks a lot of boxes for exactly what you need in a Wolves squad. But you're not going to get more than 43 million. There are other centre-halves out there. We have got some links and some rumours to go through. For me, Kilman, he's brilliant, don't get me wrong, but you can sell him on.
Definitely.
Fantastic career path, joined from Maidstone. That's a brilliant story. Sorry, Maidenhead, not Maidstone.
They get a massive paycheck if he does get
I saw this. They have a 20% sell-on fee.
They get 7
million.
million.
That is so smart, yeah.
If he goes to that 43.
Hive Athens. But that's the type of money that could change Maidenhead.
They can are
they in the VNL? They are in the VNL. I thought maybe they were in the South or the North, but no, they are in the 5th tier. £7 million to National League. That's how much Wrexham have.
Yeah.
At the moment, that's how much. Well, Wrexham obviously invested more, but apparently they've got about 7 million in the bank this summer. They'll probably increase that because they've just signed a deal with United Airlines. But imagine Maidenhead become. It's Maidenhead. Sorry, kicking myself to them and Maidstone in my head. But yeah, imagine Maidenhead become like a force. If they use that money correctly, there's no reason they can't at least get up to the Championship.
Whoa.
What?
7 million.
No, but it's how you use it. If they use it to invest in infrastructure, and if they can bring more players like Max Kilman through, they're turning a handy profit there. That's what they've got to do.
Yeah.
And then climb up into the league in League 2, and then you start to get some actual television rights, especially since the Sky have just signed a huge new deal. So, yeah, you definitely.
Now you're stuck on BT Sport. TNT Sports.
Not even that. They only put on 2 Wrexham games a year, and the rest of the games are on that. Yeah, and the Wrexham games are on the National League TV thing, which you've got to pay like £8 for to watch National League football. Yeah. Great if you're a National League fan. I can't say I'm going to be paying that to watch it.
No.
Up next, we have Bendiguz Bowler, who has a great name, which I probably mispronounced. Sorry, Bendiguz, if you're watching. But he's been out on loan at Grasshopper. They must have some sort of relationship for Wolves and Grasshopper because it's not a coincidence. But yeah, Hungarian footballer, plays as a right back.
Not really going to make
gets in the national team. Just decent, to be fair. It's not a terrible national team, the Hungary side. They've got players like Shalai. They've got players like Shabushlai. He is 23.
Oh, maybe not then.
He had a decent season in Switzerland. 33 appearances, 2 goals, 3 assists. Is it worth having a punt on him, or do you just move him on? Do you look at him having a decent season and go, well, we could pocket £30 million?
I'd say you could try and sell him. I don't really know enough about him.
Yeah, he looks like he's had a good season. Did good 2 seasons actually on loan in the Swiss First Division. I just wouldn't look at the Swiss Super League and go, oh, he can come do a job in the Prem then. But he's never really had a chance to prove himself at Wolves. Joined the club in 2021. Has immediately got out on loan for 2 consecutive seasons at Grasshopper. So maybe he's got a lot of talent there. I'll be honest, Wolves fans, you've probably watched a little bit of him maybe when seeing if he's done well in the Swiss League. Please do tell us in the comments below whether you actually see him coming back to the first team. Up next, Ryan Giles. He had a very decent season on loan at Middlesbrough. He
did. That was a very good Middlesbrough side.
Yeah.
I think
45 appearances, 11 assists.
I think he could definitely have a part to play.
I think 100%. 100% you could get him involved. He's because Middlesbrough haven't gone up, so I don't imagine they'll be able to afford him, really.
No.
So, I mean, he can't be worse than anyone that played for you last year,
probably
can he?
Not, no.
So 100% give a chance to Ryan Giles. Did alright on loan. Did really well on loan, actually. Get him in. And, I mean, if you watched any of their left-backs last season, they were hardly Ashley Cole. So, I would give him a shot.
Yeah.
Speaking of left-backs, up next we've got Ryan...
defenders.
They have got a lot of full-backs. Ryan Aït-Nouri.
Definitely.
21 appearances last season, only 9 starts, 1 goal to his name.
I thought he was better than that.
He doesn't... Why have they not played him?
I don't know.
Like, he's clearly decent, and they just don't play him. For whatever reason. Joined in 2021, only played 54 appearances in the 2 seasons since. Had a decent campaign last year. Barely played this year. I don't know. I think if you're not going to play him, you sell him because he's worth, I reckon you can get 15-20 mil for him. If you get the right buyer. For me, though, you play him. Because there is no real suitors at the moment. Start him at left back. Ryan Giles' back up. That works perfectly.
Yeah.
Up next, Kiana Hoover. He has not really had a season, has he?
He's got to go.
First half of the campaign out on loan at PSV Eindhoven, only 8 appearances, 2 of which were starts in the league, only 5 actually in the league. He then went out on loan to Stoke for the second half of the season, where he made 15 appearances in the Championship, 4 goals and an assist. Clearly he's above that Championship level, but we knew that already. I don't know.
What was he getting loaned out for? I'd send him to the Championship.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be... I reckon there'll be suitors, though.
And you've got enough fullbacks. Blimey, loads.
A lot of fullbacks. And no one that can play centre-half, apparently.
No.
So if you can teach him how to play centre-half, happy days. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like, for me, there'll be other Prem clubs interested. I could see Luton, Sheffield United.
Maybe.
May well be interested. If not, teams pushing the top of the Championship would 100% be interested. Maybe Southampton, if they lose Tino Livramento.
Yeah.
But yeah. Up next, Totti Gomez. He has had an injury since, we got just picked up an injury, actually, 16th of June, so last month. I think he's a good player.
I say he was alright. He was not too bad in his first Premier League season.
Yeah, was out on loan at Grasshopper, again, as everyone seems to be. He's played 17 appearances in the league this season, 10 starts. He got a goal. I think he's a good player. I think it's interesting being used as a left-back, because I'd expect him to be in centre-half, but he can do both roles fine. For me, it makes sense to keep him.
I thought he played centre-half for quite a while.
Yeah, well, apparently his preferred primary position is the left-back. Again, Wolves fans, please do tell us.
I think he played centre-half.
Against Everton, he played full 90 at left-back.
Oh.
So, I mean, he did well there, 7.3 rating as they drew with Everton, so... I would, and he actually put in a great performance against Aston Villa. Scored in that game from left back.
Yeah.
So, start him left back. Maybe that's why they've not played Ryan Aït-Nouri, because he had a good season there.
Possibly.
Totti Gomez, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Dion Sanderson, then he is a centre half.
Did you find him a loan move? I thought he was right there.
He's been out on loan at Birmingham this season. Didn't put in sensational numbers. I mean, if desperate times call for desperate measures, maybe.
I think you give him another loan.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then Hugo Bueno, who I believe has been out on loan for a lot of this. No, not on loan, sorry. I think he's been injured for a fair chunk of this season. But I might be wrong. To be fair, he's played fairly consistently. Maybe it was last season he got injured. He made 21 appearances, 16 starts. But when you look at his appearances, they seem to be fairly spread out across the season. It's not like there's a big patch missing. Yeah. So he plays left back as well.
There's so many rotation fullbacks.
What do you do with Giles, Aït-Nouri, Bueno, and and Totti. What do you do there?
I don't know.
Because you've got 4 left backs.
I don't know which one to go
All
with.
who could play, to an adequate level. For me, I would probably... I don't know. Now I'm starting to think maybe you get rid of Ryan Giles, but...
No.
What, so 8 Nuri goes?
I don't have
Hugo
a clue.
Bueno is only 20.
They all have different things.
Maybe you loan out Bueno? He's only
Maybe.
20. But he's played a lot already and looked decent. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of left backs at the club.
There are.
So yeah, that's a huge mess for Lopetegui to sort out.
Yeah.
Up next, midfielders. There is a fair few to touch on here.
Oh, don't.
First up, Mario Lemina. We've spoken about Charles Moutinho. He's going.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame. Good player. But he is old now. Mario Lemina.
He didn't do too badly.
I think he's a good player. I think he's always been a decent player. His attitude is sometimes... He's quite temperamental, but he's a good footballer. He spent the first half of the season out on loan at Nice, joined Wolves, I think on a free at the start of the season. Sorry, no, at Nice on a permanent. They let loads of people go for free, like halfway through this campaign, I think. Like they had Aaron Ramsey, I think he went. I know he's still there, to be fair.
Yes.
But I think Barkley's going, and Schmeichel was there, and I don't really know. There was something that weird happened at Nice this season. Anyway, Lemina was released halfway through the campaign, picked up by Wolves on a free, I believe. There may have been a fee there. Can't remember. Anyway, he had a decent campaign. 19 appearances sent off the season. Only 1 assist to his name, but that's not the role he plays. He's a defensive midfielder. He's very good at that. Very good in that role. For me, it makes complete sense to keep him around. Maybe you would want to bring in a better DM. Someone who can play that role better. But Lemina could definitely be an adequate backup. So for me, you keep him around.
Yeah.
And he's got Premier experience, which helps. We spoke about Jordao. Up next, Matthias Nunez. This kid looks quality.
He is very good.
I have to say.
He
joined at the start of the season, 39 appearances this year, 34 in the Prem, 30 starts, a goal and an assist to his name. That goal was a screamer against Chelsea.
Yeah.
I really like Nunez's energy. I think his passing range is really exquisite as well. I think he's a really decent all-round player.
Yeah.
Good midfielder. In a midfield that's looked a little bit dodgy at times, he's been fairly solid. And I think with a better DM alongside him, and the João Gomez as well, I think that forms a nice midfield 3 for starting next season.
Yeah.
Maybe bring in one more midfielder to, compete with them. But for me, if you've got Nunez, you've got Gomez, you bring in another DM. I think they look very, very good there. So yeah. Up next, Luke Cundle. He's spent the season out on loan at Swansea, another loanee. He looked actually really good. Final 4 games of the season, he got a contribution in all of them.
Yeah.
He played quite well for Russell Martin's side.
Maybe give him a chance.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, you're a bit short on midfielders. Maybe rather than bringing in someone to compete with Gomez and Nunez, you just actually give a chance to Luke Cundle.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Possibly.
Swansea fans, do tell us in the comments, and of course Wolves fans if you've watched him, is he any decent? But based off his statistics, he looks decent. Up next, Boubacar Traoré, spoken about. He joined permanently this summer after a decent loan spell last season. Joe Hodge.
Could loan him out.
He made 6 Premier League appearances last season, apparently. 1 start. I did not see this, man. He plays middle field. Probably quite right. I mean, he looked good in a win against Everton in December, but I'd probably let him leave him alone. He's only 20, makes sense. Chiquinho. He's actually had he's had a lot of problems with injuries this season, but I think when he did play, he looked exciting. A really exciting right winger. Yeah. I think for me, he's someone that can cause teams problems. He seems to be a decent crosser from what I remember from his start of the season. I think he only played the first few games, then picked up an injury. So only 8 appearances, only 1 start, but 3 assists in that time. I think if you bring in a proper number 9, you can score goals. Yeah. Chiquinho is a very good winger to supply that number 9. Yeah. Up next, sorry this list is so long, but
so that ain't really strikers yet.
João Gomez, 100% keep. Yeah. He had a really good season. Again, his numbers are really nice. He profiles really nicely for what you want in a midfielder. Very tenacious, a lot of energy, good tackler, good passer. Makes sense in there. But yeah, that's all the midfielders done then. Into forwards, Costa's gone. Sarabia.
He scored in pre-season.
He's obviously a good footballer. He's probably a cut above what Wolves should be having. Again, I think he makes sense. Joined in January, you're not going to sell him for anything. He only got 1 goal in
he's still got 2, 3, 4 years left in him. Yeah,
I hope Wolves can actually utilise him a bit more next season. But him in rotation with Chiquinho on that right hand side, I think that works. Raul Jimenez.
We spoke about
him. Sell him. Adama Traore's gone. Podence, we spoke about him. Sell him. Goncalo Guedes, they signed him at the start of the season, then they loaned him back to Benfica. It's not worked. Sell him.
Yeah, no.
Probably. I just don't think he's very good.
Someone will have him.
He really struggled to adapt to the Premier League. Clearly something happened there because you don't just give up on someone after 6 months. But yeah, now he's picked up an injury as well. Sell him. Huang Yi-Chan or Hee-Chan Huang. He looked good in his first Prem campaign. Like, he picked up 5 goals in 30 games, which for Wolves isn't horrendous. No. This season he's not been great though. 27 games, 3 goals, 1 assist. I don't know. He looked better in his loan spell.
Sell him.
He's only joined last summer. I think considering the lack of players at Wolves right now that are any good.
This list taking forever.
Well, we've sold everyone else, so they do need some forwards. I'd probably keep Huang for this season.
Alright.
Pedro Neto. Really struggled with fitness this season, Neto, but if he can stay fit...
He's very good.
I was going to say, I could see him doing decently well. 18 games this season, only 13 of which were starts. Not a contributions to his name, but you've only got to go back to the seasons before that where he starts his contributions were good.
Yeah.
Season before was difficult. He picked up a lot of injuries in that. The last season he actually played over 30 games though, 2021. He picked up 11 contributions. So if he can stay fit, he's magical. Start him on the right wing, get him creating. Definitely. Start him on the left wing, or the right, either wing. Who cares? He could do a job on both. Get him involved, get him scoring. Sasa Kalajdzic, he's really struggled with injuries this season. He played 45 minutes against Southampton, looked fine, got injured, came off. That was his entire game. Yeah, so he's only made 45 minutes. He's only played 45 minutes for them. We know he's high potential. At Stuttgart, he played 3 games to start this season before joining Wolves on deadline day, and he got 3 assists in that time. No goals. In the season before, 6 goals, 1 assist in 15 appearances. The season before that, 33 games, 16 goals, 5 assists. If he can stay fit, very, very good player. He's got height on his side as well, which when Wolves don't have a lot of the ball in games, it can be useful to have someone you can pump it long to. So to have him as a bit of a different option, I think that makes sense. I'd still sign another striker this season, because if you go into next season with Kalajdzic and Huang as your 2 options, you might as well ask for relegation from the off. So I would sign a striker, Wolves, but Kalajdzic can do a job if he can stay fit.
Yeah, I've got the other man though.
Fabio Silva.
Yeah.
Apparently they're looking to sell. He wants out. Wolves don't like him. I think you're making 21 million.
It's weird. He's never really done...
He had a good season out on loan at PSV. Yeah. He strikes me as arrogant. I have no basis for that. But when I look at him, he looks like, someone who played... I'm not going to call him a twat because I don't know him that well. Obviously, we're not like best mates. But he joined Wolves for £40 million. That's a lot of pressure and expectation. He's not lived up to that. He's not scored for Wolves in the Premier League when he did play last in 21-22. Didn't play from at all in 22-23. Did get 4 goals in 2021. So maybe there's a road back. But it looks like he's not happy at the club. Wolves don't really want to use him.
No.
I think he'll make £20 million there. So probably sell him on. Anyway, I think that's finally all the squad. Now we can start making some improvements. So, what areas need to be targeted? Well, defenders are a key. They've only got 1 centre half if Kilman leaves. Bring in some defenders, shore up the defence, cut more options in wide. Definitely not fullbacks, but there are. If Johnny leaves, you could do with replacing that experience. There is a free option, which makes a lot of sense. I'm sure a lot of Wolves fans will be behind that. Midfield rebuild then. Obviously, Ruben Neves is gone. Matinho is gone. I think bringing a couple more players in there, maybe someone to compete with Gomez and Nunez, depending on whether you rate Kundal or not, could be a good option. And then obviously a striker. A striker is absolutely pivotal for all success this season. They have to sign someone who can actually score goals. Should we start at the back? And I think we'll start with the obvious one, the one that's been linked very heavily in the press. It is Matt Doherty. Sensational return could be on the cards. Joined Atletico Madrid in January. However, he has had his contract terminated just 6 months after signing for them. Do you see him still be able to do it in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think he's still got the ability to be a rotation wing back.
Yeah.
Well, fairy tale return. When
he knows the club. The fans love him.
Especially when you're struggling, it's a win for Lopetegui to get the fans back on side.
Yeah, and he's someone that will fight for the club, will fight for the badge.
Yeah, definitely.
He's someone who will bring experience, perhaps potentially reinstill that ethos that Nuno Esperito Santo had at the club, that hard work, that dedication. I think he could definitely come in and do well. I'd probably start Nelson Semedo, but for me, he can come in and do a very adequate job as a backup. Centre halves then. Now the one they've been linked with in the media, so the one that's most obvious is Victor Nelson. Now the Dane has been playing in Galatasaray in Turkey this season. He's had a really good campaign. He's very tall, has always been someone who's always been touted with a move to the Premier League and other top leagues, but he's never quite got that move. But very good in the air, strong in the tackle, good playing out from the back as well, which helps for the style of football Lopetegui wants to play. He just makes a lot of sense, I think. He'll compete with Craig Dawson in that role. It'll be interesting to see who starts, but I think they could both share out a lot of minutes there. So I think Nelson would be a good pickup, and he is actually linked with them.
Yeah, he's just all round a very solid centre half.
Wolves, by the way, no rumours. This is the only person they're linked with, so it was a lot of hard work to find some suggestions for transfers, but. Yeah, Victor Nelson seems to be a deal that they're looking at. Brentford also linked though, so that could be difficult if Brentford go in for him. But yeah, you could always pay over the top.
You could.
Up next, Maxence Lacroix. If you lose Kilman, I think Lacroix replaces exactly what you're losing. He's a very quick defender. He is a great example of someone who can play with the ball at his feet. Very similar to Nelson as well. Quite tall, a lot quicker than Nelson, can cover ground really well. He's only 23 as well, a French player, not a French international, but it's very difficult to get in the France team. Yeah. I think he could be a potential for French international, and yeah, I think he's just a really good player. Applies to trade for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga, but for me, he is a really talented footballer. So bring him in. But yeah, Nelson, by the way, rumoured around that £20 million pound mark, just over maybe. But considering you're selling Hillman for 43, I think that's a great bit of business. Yeah. Lacroix, I think maybe you can go a little lower, maybe 18, maybe 20 million. Ooh. It might be a little higher than that. But Wolfsburg, obviously, I don't think they've got European football this year. We'll just double check that. That could be a motivating factor, of course, for him to leave. The fact that Wolfsburg don't have European football, potentially, as much as... so 8th in the table, so no European football. But so he'd be in the same situation, probably earning a lot more money at Wolves. I think he'd be interested. Wolfsburg are probably happy to get 20 million for him, so I think there's a deal to be done there. Definitely. And finally, from relegated Leeds, I would pick up Pascal Struijk. I think his versatility is very useful, can play left back. Not that they need left backs, they've got a lot of them, but he could play there. He's a very capable centre half. Yeah. I don't think him and Koch were the problems this season. Koch obviously was linked with a lot of Premier League clubs. He's now gone out on loan to Frankfurt. For me, Struijk can come in, do a job as that left centre half, left footed as well. Same as Lacroix. They would cover that role nicely. That leaves you 4 very good options. Again, around that £20 million mark. It is 60 million on 3 defenders, but Wolves have money, and they've just sold Kilman for 43 or could sell Kilman for 43 and have sold Collins for over 20. So you've got money to spend there.
Definitely.
To replace them. Up next, looking into the midfield, then for me, you need to go and get a marquee signing. Now, this is going to be a bit of a punt.
Oh, here we go.
Florentino Luis. We've spoken about him before on this show because he is a magical footballer. He is a ridiculously good passer. His progressing passing numbers are ridiculous. He's played a lot of football for Benfica at just 21. Very energetic, great tackle interception numbers as well in that role. He sort of fits that Kante profile. He's a little taller than Kante, so that helps. But he's very quick, very good at screening that back four. In a team that conceded a few too many goals last season, I think he'd do a great job. But also he helps moving the ball up the pitch. Wolves really struggled with that last season, was getting that ball forward, creating attacks. But he is, as I say, a great progressive passer, good at getting that ball forward, good at getting it in behind. There is only a slight problem, and that is that AC Milan are also interested as they eye him as a Sandro Tonali replacement. So maybe a difficult deal to pull off if you're looking for a cheap.
Brilliant, they do.
Yeah, it would be a very good option. If you're looking for a cheaper option, who would any suggestions coming to mind of that sort of DM role? I mean, instantly coming to my head is Etienne Camara at Huddersfield. I wouldn't trust him. The fact he's not played a lot of football at first team level, and he's also not proven at Premier League level. Obviously, Florentino Luis isn't proven in Premier League level, but he's played a lot of football in Portugal, so should adapt quickly. Anyone coming to your head instantly?
Nope.
Fair enough. Maybe consider I think William Carvalho's just joined Saudi League, hasn't he? If not, that could have been a decent suggestion. But yeah, they need a defensive midfielder, someone that can play the ball forwards, but can also be great defensively. Yeah. So I think just his passing really makes him a great option. Again, around 50 million. That's exactly what you've just sold Neves for, though. That would be a great way to reinvest it. And I think given that Premier League pull, given the financial incentive that you can offer him a higher wage, I think you can pull it off. I really think you can. It's not unheard of that players are linked with big clubs and then join the likes of Wolves. I mean, we saw Jean-Michael Seri link with Barcelona and then go and join Fulham a year later. So you can pull off these signings with that Premier League pull. I think that would show a great sign of intent from Wolves to go and pull off that transfer. Some of their midfield options then, people that can compete with Gomez and Nunez, are two players that I think are very different, but both do different roles for Wolves. They could sign them both, they could sign neither, they could sign one of them. They're just a couple suggestions out there. So the first of which is Adrien Rabiot. Only a year left on his deal at Juventus. I think he's a magical player, but he's a bit of a difficult player to manage. Now, maybe Wolves don't want that in their dressing room. Apparently his agent, who is also his mother, is very difficult to deal with. But I think he is a good footballer. That is quite obvious. Maybe just with the pressure off, because Wolves won't be such a high-pressure situation. Maybe he can finally prove that potential.
I just think between him and his mum/agent... It's a nasty piece of work.
Yeah, well, to balance that out, I came with a very wholesome player, Daichi Kamada. He had a really good World Cup, and I think his versatility across the front line, but also as an attack midfielder is very helpful. He won't really be able to play as one of the... If they play a 3 midfield, he won't be able to play as one of the 2.
Yeah.
One of the 2 8s, but he could play as a sole 8, and then you have a double pivot, potentially dropping Gomez a little deeper, potentially bringing another DM to play alongside Florentino Luis. That could work, but yeah, I think Kamada, the fact he could play as a false 9, he could play on the right. I think that rotation, that versatility could be very useful. So yeah, I think on a free as well, relatively low risk, good footballer, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Finally, then, last but definitely not least, is the marquee striker, someone to replace the fact that nobody scored any goals last season. Now, I had a couple of names come to my head, but the name I've settled on, I did look at Fuller and Balogun. I think that would be a great bit of business as well. But I think it would be even better if you can pull one of Manchester United's targets, Mehdi Taremi. He has been sensational at Porto over the last few years, the Iranian international. He is a very, very good footballer. His numbers are sensational. He is very good at linking up the play, but also a natural goal scorer. I will just quickly get up his goals, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but he is very consistent.
In the last few years, have been double digits.
Which you'd expect in the Portuguese league, but I think you can transfer that. So 22 in 33 games last season.
Crazy.
7 assists as well, which I think shows exactly what I mean about him being able to link up the play. I think having him there will make more of Pedro Neto.
It will just be a very hard deal to pull off.
It will be difficult, but he is 30. I think if United are looking at Højlund, looking potentially at a Kane or Osimhen, I think while they're busy looking at other targets, usually can get to Remy.
50, 60 million, we'll have him.
Yeah, 20 goals as well the season before that. And even before that, 16 and 18. And he wasn't playing for Porto then, he was playing for Rio Ave. So he's proven himself at a load of different clubs.
4 seasons in a row he's hit.
He scored 4 goals as well on the 20th of May against Millicao.
That is a very good achievement.
It is, yeah. And he's also proven in the Champions League, 5 goals in 7 appearances in the UCL this season. Really. That's why clubs like Manchester United are snooping around him. Yes. And at the World Cup, well, it's 2 goals in 3 games. It's not his fault that Iran didn't get through. Let's put it that way. But yeah, he is a good footballer. He will be able to do a job. In fact, Iran came 3rd in their group, which was with England, USA, Wales. That's all they could really ask for. In fact, that's better than I think most people expected them to do. So a lot of that came down to Taremi. I think Mehdi Taremi is a good footballer, a really good footballer. I think if you can get him around 25, 30 million, you are getting yourself an absolute bargain there. But you've got to act fast, because United will get interested, especially if they fail with their pursuits of Højlund and of Kane.
Do it now.
So yeah, there's our suggestions. Wolves fans, please do feel you're more than welcome to go and criticise them in the comments or praise them like we are sensational at what we do. Either way, please do leave a comment. If you're listening, then you can head on over to the YouTube and get involved there, or to any of our socials at The Football Chat on most things, _ The Football Chat _ on Instagram. So yeah, go find us on all those sorts of platforms. But yeah, that is everything for today. Predictions for next season before we round off then. Because I completely forgot to do that. Where do you see them?
I do not know for Wolves. I think, if anything, it will be backwards. But for me, they'll stay where they are.
Okay. Fair enough. Around that 14th position. I think this season will start poorly. And I think that a lot of people will be right when saying that Julian Lopetegui will be sacked. But I think they'll get their managerial appointment correct. And I think they'll end up 12th. I'm going to say... I think now who will be unemployed by around November time. Yeah, and of course Portuguese. I don't know. No one comes off the top of my head. Maybe Sergio Conceição.
Maybe.
And if they sign Taremi, that could work wonders. But yeah, that is everything. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're around here. All your support massively helps us out. Thank you all very much for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.